welcome back to episode 11 of the Lockdown Podcast. Just a quick recap on last week's on episode 10. We had Jason Kennedy, Paul McKillop and Matt Rolston on, looking at the era of the 90s and wheelchair basketball in Northern Ireland, which was unbelievable. Some great stories and a follow-on from the original guys, like Sir Paul Gallagher, Ivor Chase and Aubrey Bingham just the week before that. So we've had some real fire, and we're expecting some more today. So this week we're going to be focusing on the Naughties, and we've got Nathan McCabe from the Knights Wheelchair Basketball Club, got Ross Atkinson from the Northwest Wolves, Alistair McSorley from the Craigavon Lakers, and David Linden from the Causeway Giants. So welcome, guys. Thanks very much for agreeing to do this and come on and give us your thoughts. And as per usual, we'll have our usual suspects. So our world champion, James McSorley, and Danny Cooper, our club development officer at the Disability Sport NI. Okay, so welcome back, guys. It's always good to see you. So before we get started, we're going to look at a bit of a weekly roundup, guys. So as I was explaining before we started recording, we're looking at what we've been doing over the lockdown period for you guys that haven't been on before, and then also what me, James and Danny have been doing over the past week or whatever. James, how have you been getting on?
I've been grand. It's kind of the same story every week. We're very slowly getting out of this lockdown stuff over here in Gran Canaria. I have discovered that if I leave where I'm living, go towards the beach, go all the way to the end of the beach, back home, that's just over 5K. So I've been doing that first thing in the morning, every morning for the last couple of days, and I plan to keep on doing it. And it's been a nice bit of cardio. I think basketball courts are very selectively opening up here indoors at certain times under very controlled circumstances. So I'm looking into that, which will be very exciting. And apart from that, I've been trying to sort of upskill myself and look at wee bits and pieces about like public speaking and networking and how to use social media to sort of push yourself just for something to do. Like the public speaking is something I've always been really interested in, and I've been lucky to have a couple of goes at it already, and it was really fun and something I'd love to push when this is all over. Obviously, I don't know when I'm going to be allowed to be in a room full of a group of strangers again. I don't know when companies will be back in work for that to be something I can do, but I've been preparing just in case, because I think it's something I enjoy and something I want to keep sort of pushing. So yeah, just trying to move everything forward. Basically.
Yeah, so just working on other areas of your profession, I suppose, in a way, a bit of personal development, which is always a good thing. Danny, have you been getting on?
Yeah, a couple of things. The learning side of things, 100%. So Phil, obviously you know this, a lot of learning and professional development, and there's a lot of good stuff out there. I think because everything shifted online, there's so many good things you can avail of, which may would have cost in the past are free now, and just YouTube and content and amazing podcasts like our very own. Suppose the other bit of news is club number 6 was due to start last week. Obviously not the case, but location and any other information will remain secret until a point of we can actually deliver that. So club number 6, yeah, a little bit frustrating that way, but it's the right thing to do, and obviously we know why that's happened. Final things, more of a thank you, I suppose. BWB sharing our podcast, which is lovely. So to anyone who's like a new listener, this is all Phil's fault, first of all. Phil's idea about 3 months ago. And then second of all, but more on a more serious note, I would definitely check out previous episodes, because it's been a bit of a journey. I feel like it's been a fun one, but it's been good to see changing haircuts, the changing attitudes, the changing approaches, but no, it's been good fun. So a big thank you to BWB, because that was great. That was very good.
Third of all, follow me on Instagram.
Every week, James.
I'm really trying.
I can tell.
So Nathan, have you been getting on, man?
Oh, I've been getting on absolutely class, but I've been flat out.
Yeah, what have you been getting up to?
I've been saying, like, there'll be locking days where I'd be kayaking, and then I have a bike project that I'm working on. I have a funny story about it though. So I have this bike we bought for like £300, put like £400 or £500 into it. Bike's looking absolutely mint. New paint job, new tank, shocks, the whole shebang, you name it. This thing is top dog. So I go to take it out one day, it's just a lovely sunny day, so I go to take it out of the gym. But we've got a ramp and it's full of stones, like. So I'm going down, but the kickstand's down. So if I let go of the bike, it'll fall back over onto the kickstand.
Yeah.
Now this thing's just got this brand new paint job looking absolutely mint. And I'm taking it out of the gym. And of course the kickstand's still down. I'm pushing it across, but my wheelchair gets stuck, so I fall out of it, but I'm holding the bike at the same time. So the kickstand goes up, the bike falls down. And I tell you one thing now, I could have cried. 3 months of work and I dropped the bike.
Oh,
Mate. I thought you said it was a funny story, to be honest with you.
That's the word.
The funny thing was, though, I couldn't lift the back up.
Oh, jeez.
So did you end up scraping the bike, or was it damaged and like a lot, or was it all right?
I was so surprised. There's stoppers in the end of the throttle, so when it falls over, it hits the ground. But it
You've
bent
lost
back in mirror, it chipped, bent an indicator.
So the bike's okay, yeah. The bike's all right. It was just cosmetic in a sense.
Yeah, but the saddest thing was that I lost about £3 worth of fuel. Came out of the fuel tank, I was fuming.
£3.
Absolutely fuming. £3, that's a lot of money.
Hold on, that's probably about £2 now. It's been prices have been
That's cheap.
Yeah.
That could be a
It was
whole
£3 now. Back then, it would have been probably a fiver. Like.
Back then.
back in the day. And are you all right?
Back in the day.
Oh, flip me. And have you been, other than doing up a bike, I've heard you've been doing a bit of kayaking, is that true?
Oh, lad. Me and him were out in Caswell the other day, but now here's another funny story. So we go out kayaking. We were out in the water for about 10ish, and we go out. Now Neil's got this £30,000 prosthetic leg,
Right.
and we're going out in gale force winds. Now it was probably the worst day we could have went out. There was literally really bad waves. Now I'm in this real nice, comfortable kayak, hard bottom, sit on top of the range, and he goes out in this inflatable thing out of the decathlon. And see as we're going out, the kayak near tips and his leg near goes in. But he saved it, and that's alright. So we're coming back in, and the wind's picking up. So we're going out, and for some reason, I don't know how, but I seen that there was a fishing net in the water. So I turned my kayak to go over towards it. But Neil's coming this way, and I'm coming this way. So I cut across him, and he puts his oar in real quick and turns. But the thing goes right up on him, and his leg near went in again. But
So don't let you anywhere near a bike, and don't go out kayaking. Is that the lesson we've all learned?
Don't go out kayaking with a prosthetic on.
flipping right, 30,000 was near lost because of a £200 kayak.
Brilliant. Cheers, Nathan. Cheers. Ross, have you been getting on, lad?
Well, I mean, it's been pretty much the same. Like, the days just get the same. Like for the first month, it was like, okay, like we might get out of this soon. And after the second month, you're like, oh, another month, and then another month, and you're like, just nothing to do. But the funniest thing happened to me. It was on my birthday. It's not funny to anyone else, but it's really funny to me. So I came out of my bathroom. It was my birthday. It was my 18th, right? So I come out of my bathroom, and there was a cardboard box from something I had got. Like my brother got me. I had to put together, and the cardboard box was sitting outside my bathroom. I had tripped going out of the bathroom, fell into the cardboard box. When I tried to get back up, I fell again. Ended up smacking my head off the side of my bed, split my head clean open. I touch my head and go, oh, I think I'm bleeding. My hand, I look at my hand, it's dripping with blood, and then we set up an A&E, and it was mad though, like because of all the what's going on. Usually A&E on a Saturday would have been absolutely packed, but there was 3 people in there, and I was like, whoa. Aside from that, I think it's just trying to keep my head straight and not getting down in the dumps because there's nothing to do. Like trying to do workouts. I've been doing 2 workouts a day just because I'm bored and nothing to do. Like I'm dead all the time because there's just nothing to do and working out because I'm bored.
Yeah.
But,
We'll get on and look at some game footage as well. You know, you've got plenty of people in the Northern Ireland group that you can touch on and stuff as well. But it's happy 18th, by the way, and stay away from sharp objects in future. They'll be using your head as a buffer. It's probably the lesson there. Alistair, have you been getting on?
Not too bad. Been doing all right. I think the whole lockdown thing has sort of just highlighted how dull my lifestyle actually is. You know, it's not changed. But
That's everywhere in the world. Don't worry about
that. I've just been using the time to hone down my latte art skills on my coffee machine and
nice.
Exercise my whiskey cabinet a bit as well.
And, choice of words.
Yeah. And, no, we actually got a pub at the start of the year, so that's been pretty exciting. Like every day, a whole lot of fun with her tearing about and different things. So her latest things are white socks and gloves. And yeah, one of the neighbours had popped down to leave off a parcel that was left with them, and the wee girl, like she's only 4 years old and she's running around in her white socks, and yeah, the pub went snipped over and managed to yank the sock off her, run across the garden and swallowed the thing whole in one. And I thought, oh no, like it's not great that she's nicked the sock, but like the sock in the tummy of a pub, I don't think it's going to do it any good. Luckily the pub is travel sick at the minute, so we stuck her in the back of the car, which has now been called the Vomit Comet, and take it into sport mode and keep it between the hedges going around the B roads whilst my dad's in the back hanging over into the boot waiting for the dog to be sick, and then sure enough she'll be sick. So she brought up the white sock, which was a little colour of beige by now, but it brought up a few other things that we didn't realise she swallowed, and unfortunately we managed to piece together a £20 note.
Oh, no way.
I was just like, oh, you're killing me.
Oh, unbelievable.
Unreal.
What type of dog did you say it was? What type of dog is it?
She's a Labrador cross with a poodle, so she's basically just a fuzzy Labrador. But yeah, just everything, you know, is edible in her opinion at the minute.
Unreal.
That's my opinion too, to be honest
What a
with
story. What a story. Cheers,
Yeah.
Alistair. Cheers. David, last guy to go. Have you been getting on?
I've been great. I can't say I've had as entertaining stories as going over in a kayak or having my dog eat anything, but no, I've been good. I've just been trying to get uni finished here. I'm either going to be going straight to placement year or straight to final year, trying to get that all sorted, but with the current situation, it's a bit hard. I'd like to say that I've been training my butt off since lockdown, but that would be a complete lie. I've been eating my butt off since I've been in the lockdown, and I'd be scared to get back to training. Like a coach would be yelling at me for how little I'd be able to do. Like it'd be horrible. But no, apart from that, to be honest, the whole adapting to being online instead of going out in person, stuff like that, it's actually been relatively easy for me. I'm kind of used to this sort of thing. So I'm always behind the computer whenever I get the chance, which sounds kind of bad, but it's good for the current situation. And then apart from that, I am doing pretty much the opposite to everyone else. I don't think I'm going to be going to Phil's hair barber anytime soon. I'm going to encourage myself to go for this caveman look and see what it looks like whenever I get out. And apart from that, my life's been a same rotation of gaming, getting back into training, trying to sort out uni and make sense of everything that's going on, hoping that lockdown restrictions just keep getting lifted more and more.
Yeah. Well, that is a positive, isn't it? That things are starting to ease up a wee bit, similar to James. And you guys are, I believe, 3 weeks maybe ahead of us, or maybe a bit more. But
yeah, I think so.
We're starting to ease our lockdown kind of restrictions anyway. But there's still certain things that are in place, and you know that the sooner we can all get back on court, the better. I suppose that's the main thing, isn't it? For a bunch of people that are into wheelchair basketball and sport. But lads, listen, thanks very much for sharing your stories and what you've been getting up to over this kind of period. That's been the best one yet, 100%. Before we get started and get into the kind of the nitty gritty of things, Danny's got some stats from 2010. Is that right, Danny? Yeah.
That is indeed, yes. Obviously,
Yes,
we've kind of covered the 90s with the guys, Ivor Aubrey and Paul. Then moved on to the noughties, if you like, the early thousands. So we're talking today from 2010 onwards to the now, I suppose. So if you go back to 2010, films from the time, Inception was the #1 grossing film. And Toy Story 3, believe it or not, as well.
Ben will be delighted. Absolutely delighted.
So yeah, of course. From a music perspective, One Direction was formed in 2010. Depends how you view that as good or bad, but it happened. Sportsman of the Year was Usain Bolt, and Sportswoman of the Year was Serena Williams. I suppose there were a couple of things. There's a certain insurance company that had a TV advert at the time with an opera singer, which I believe is actually still happening 10 years on. But that was actually voted the most irritating advert of all time in 2010. So I won't mention the name just in case. But and then the final thing, and I found this quite interesting. The best-selling car. We've done this every week for the last 2 or 3. It's been a Ford Fiesta every single decade.
Wow.
Yeah, Ford Fiesta again. So Aubrey said he had a Ford Fiesta. Last episode when it was Paul, Jason and Matt, it was Ford Fiesta and the Peugeot. And then this time, 2010, Ford Fiesta again. So big up to the Ford. Good effort for 30 years of complete dominance.
Well, I don't think it was the same model. No, that's
no, absolutely no. But Ford Fiesta, you know, so 2010, that's where we're starting.
Danny, have you got like an individual sponsorship before? You understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
He should be hanging around with us if he did.
I won't be on this podcast if I did, yeah.
No, cheers, Danny. Thanks very much. It's always good to hear what's been going on from that period of time, and it always throws up the Inception. Can't remember it. But yeah, Ford Fiesta, just get on it. Get on it. I thought it would be on the focus, by the way. But okay, so let's get into it, guys. I suppose we're here to talk about, you know, the now within wheelchair basketball and, you know, the future, where it's going. And no better group. We've got a lot of different people that are coming from various different clubs across Northern Ireland. And I suppose we're going to start with the young pup, but the guy who's been involved the longest. So Nathan, give us a wee idea as to how you got involved with wheelchair basketball. How did you get into the sport?
Well, the thing, I went to Fleming Fulton School up in Belfast, and like there was a few of the guys came in and they were doing like a promotion kind of thing, and I got talking to a few of them, and like I was 7 at the time, and I was P2, and I was just talking, and like this blew my mind. Like guys who look like absolute animals can be this cool in real life, and then once you see them on court, they're like 2 different people. It's like really, really competitive. Like it's like really intense, and then you see them off court, and they're like gentle giants. That is the coolest part that I've seen. So it was.
And can you remember going up to the nights for the first time? What was that like?
Oh, I was thinking there's maybe going to be a few people, but I was up in under form, and I go for like I'm the tiniest, like chubbiest kid you'll ever see, and you open up these 2 doors and go in, and there's like 30 wheelchairs doing like it looks like 100 miles an hour going straight past you. They were like doing warm ups the lengths of the court, and I was like, what have I got myself into? It was mad. Like.
But you decided to give it a go anyway.
Well, 10 years later, I'm still playing it, so still keeping it up.
Do you remember who came and did the demo in Fleming Fulton? Do you remember any of the names or any of the faces? Like, was it boys that are?
There was a promotional thing. That was like there was like people like talking about it. Like there wasn't like any of the players in. There was like some things through Fleming Fulton. Because when Ma was down, she used to be in the Paralympics and that. She was like all in with like the sports and like all different activities and stuff. And then my ma heard about it from the school, and then that's what got me involved. So I go down and then the first person I ever got talking to was Jory.
Oh, good man.
Okay.
And it was a fun experience. Put it that way.
Yeah. David, you'll know all about that. Jordy's your head coach at the Giants.
Oh, he's a Carter. He's great.
No, 100%. But so Nathan, whenever you got up there, what was the What was the moment where you thought, yeah, this is for me? Was it the speed? Was it the feel of the chair whenever you get into it? What was it all about?
To be honest with you, it was 100% the inclusion. When you're playing wheelchair basketball, it's not like, oh, you have a disability, we'll go easy on you, we'll do this, we'll do that. Obviously, you're going to be a newcomer. People aren't going to give you a hard time. They're not going to be 100 mile an hour at you. Like, they slow things down and help you progress until you get up to their standards or their speed and stamina. So when you're going down court, and then once you get a bit older and a bit more involved, then they push you on, and then they push you on, and they push you on, and that's the only way you want to progress.
Yeah, no, 100%. And of a wee question now, we've obviously got James here. How much did you obviously you would have been a junior, and James is phasing out of that junior phase and going into more of a senior phase. How much have you kind of looked up to him in regards to your journey as a player?
My biggest thing for me when I was playing was seeing how James McSorley, Con Nagel, all those guys were like going from like the real low standard from like me playing. Like there would have been like 4 or 5 of us at like, I was 7 and we were using like 8-foot nets, and then you just see this young fella Con just whizzing up and down the court with these guys who are like 4 or 5 feet taller than him sitting in their wheelchairs. It is absolutely insane. And then James, when he was younger, when he was whizzing up and down the court, it was just an absolute sight to see. It was class. And then that's what got me, that what kind of got me motivated to be like, well, they've obviously started from where I am, so I want to get to their league. And then as they go up, I want to go up, and they go up, and I want to go up, and like try and catch up with them.
Yeah, so a real positive environment that you joined whenever you went up to the nights. It sounded, yeah, hurry at the start. You know, you go in, you see all these guys and girls whizzing up and down the floor, but then that was the motivating factor, was just to get better and be able to compete within that environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, class. Ross, give us a wee idea. You're next up. Give us an idea of how you got in. What was your journey into the sport of wheelchair basketball?
Well, before the basketball, it was about, I would say, I would have been maybe 10 or 11. I would have went up to Dundonald every Tuesday, I think it was, if I can remember the day, to play CP football.
Yep.
With Northern Ireland CP football. And I played that for maybe 2 years, so stopped when I was 13, 14. And I actually got invited to like a trial for the under-18 CP football team.
Yeah.
But I ended up being extremely sick, so I couldn't, like I was bedbound for about 2 weeks prior to the actual trial, and I just wasn't feeling it, so I had to miss it obviously. And then I just stopped going because I just didn't feel comfortable anymore. But then it got to 2017, and because obviously my eyesight isn't as good. I've got nystagmatism in my eyes, so I go to a low vision clinic, and I seen a flyer, like a poster on a wall, talking about the Northwest Wolves starting up a wheelchair basketball club. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a try. And then Danny was actually there. He's always there. On it was actually it was the 3rd of February 2018, and I went down, and obviously I have cerebral palsy, so like I have all my core strength, and I was like, I'm pretty tall, so they tried to put me in like a low pointer, like a really bucketed chair, and I was like, I'm not gonna really sit in this. So I was in this big chair, and I mean, I was massive, but the problem was it was so wide that I couldn't do anything, so I was just basically pushing a big chunk of metal, and I was like, okay, this is fun. Like, it's just how physical it was at the start, because everyone was just crashing into each other all the time, and it was like, this is fun. Yeah.
I remember you coming in, and I remember that night actually there wasn't enough chairs for people who turned up, and we always say that we feel like positive problem, but it is a problem, but it's a good problem. And I remember you coming in, I remember you getting a chair because it was a case of, here's a chair because all the rest of them are gone, and I think this is the only one available. And yeah, that night was amazing. Like, start of a journey, and I can't believe you remember the night. That's unbelievable.
It was the thing was, the chair was literally a 17-inch width chair, and I am a 13-inch waist. Like, that thing 4 inches wider than my waist. I was like, this is crazy. Like,
yeah,
but
I mean,
got someone in there with
obviously we've had Paul Gallagher on, and Paul Gallagher's one of the coaches and one of the main driving forces behind the Wolves at the minute. And James has had an impact with Paul as well in the past, and it seems to be anybody that he's connected with turns out to be a half decent player. In any way, has he had a massive impact on you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, with my left hand, Phil, like it's absolutely horrible, but it's so bad. Like, but it's actually starting to come on, and like Paul has literally, because we do on our training session, it's from 5:30 till 8 in total, but the 5:30 until 7 is juniors, like everyone, and then the 7 till 8 would be seniors. And Paul, for about 4 weeks before like our games, would literally sit me under the basket with my left hand up, not with the touch it with my right hand, to get the ball into my left hand without doing anything. And I was like, I hate you with a passion, get away from me. But no, he's really brought everyone on in our club. Like, him working with Diane has really brought everyone on, because Diane can get everyone in and have a lot of fun, but when it needs to be knuckled down, Paul's like, right, let's go, let's do it properly. Like, once Paul came in at the start, it was like, okay, this is serious now.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. It's a great skill mix between Diane and Paul in terms of the development of your club, because you need that other person to remind a top level player and an international player and an international coach to a certain extent, the ability that Paul has to be able to then switch on to the fun side of things as well. So they've got a great mix. And there's that.
The thing about Paul is, obviously with his experience of coaching and stuff in the past and playing, he's really good at getting the juniors involved as well. Like, I remember the first night he came in, it was like we had a massive scrimmage. There was like maybe 20 people there the first day Paul came, and it was about 5 or 6 juniors, and he had the juniors mixing in straight away. Like, none of the juniors wanted to play because it was obviously we're seniors and they were scared. And Paul literally Paul got them in straight away, and we were playing a scrimmage within 5 minutes of Paul being there. Like, he's so great. Like, he's so good at getting everyone involved. It's like, it takes no effort.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think we've heard that right throughout, from the 90s through into the noughties and then into now. Like, the impact that man's had on a lot of people on this call as well has been huge. Would that be fair to say, James?
Yeah, I was going to say it's really impressive, because he taught me he started coaching me when I was a kid. Like, he taught me how to shoot a reverse layup. Like, I'll always remember that. Like, he was like, okay, so you can do this thing that you go on as if you're taking a layup and you go past it, and then he was like talking about the finer points of it, and it was like just what you said about the fact that he's very insistent that you do things right, which when you're a bit younger you might be like, oh sure, it went in, it's grand, or sure, I'm having fun, it's grand, or sure, we're just here for, like, I'm here, but like, it really, really stands you in good stead for the rest of your
I think that's what's been so good for me as well. Like, obviously with Phil, like, because I joined when I was 16, I think, so I'm joining pretty late. And I think with Phil, like, obviously joining, I literally, the first day I realised, oh, this could be something, was when we went up to that, it was like a 2-day camp, Phil, we went up on in July, I think it was. Yeah. And I remember first day going into that, seeing Colin, I was transferred into my chair. Colin shot, or Colin threw the ball to Pete, but he missed. Colin was able to push from the free throw line, get the ball, and push up half court before I transferred into my chair. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, what is wrong with you?
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, 100%. And it can't be scary. We've talked about that going into new environments, and I think everybody's talked about, having that a bit of fear whenever you go in, but you feel it anyway, and you just go for it and have a bit of crack, and it ends up being amazing. Alistair, give us a wee insight into how your journey came about going into the Lakers and how you ended up there. Obviously, you and James are related, clearly, with the McSorley clan. I know the elephant in the room, big time. So give us an idea of how you ended up in that in the Lakers jersey.
It's a series of events, really, I suppose. But I mean, I've always been aware of the sport with James and Emer playing it, and playing it to very high levels. That's always been pretty cool. And back in 2012, I did a half Ironman triathlon to raise a bit of money for the Knights way back then. And looking back now, I can't believe I was giving money to competitors, you know.
Bought someone's chair without even knowing that's paying
I know.
Sleep.
Yeah. But yeah, I had a spinal cord injury back in the summer of 2018. And whenever I was in the Royal, you know, only a few weeks after recovering, we had the iPad up, you know, we were watching James, you know, playing in the World Championships, which was absolutely incredible. And yeah, they won, and he came home, and he came to visit me whenever he was suffering from a pretty severe post-celebration hangover. But he brought the medal in. It was just like awesome to see, and we were incredibly proud. And I remember whenever I was watching the games on the iPad, just thinking like, yeah, I'd definitely love to have a crack at that, you know, and see what it's about. And then went to Musgrave for my rehab, and on Thursdays you would have sports sessions where somebody from Disability Sport from Ireland would come in and take a sports session, and it was usually boccia, you know, and the average age and the Musgrave Spinal Ward wasn't exactly the lowest. Yeah. So boccia was great for all age ranges and produced a lot of competitivity with everyone. But Danny mentioned to me, I think it was like quite late on, like it was just before being discharged. He said, "Oh, like, you know, there's a brand new club just started up a few months in Craigavon," and I was like, "Oh, like that's where I'm from." He said, "You know, give it a go if you're up for it." And I sort of thought, like, well, I mean, you know, my main sport I was always cycling and mountain biking, you know, and I thought, well, like it's an individual sport. I'm not sure if I'd really fit into team sport again, you know. So I sort of thought, oh, well, like I'll just, you know, kick that one into the long grass for now. And then went home. First thing I wanted to do when I got home was join a gym and continue my rehab. So the gym, you know, was going to join the leisure centre, Craigavon, which is where they trained, and had to get inducted to the gym by the DSNI person there, and that was Rebecca Greenaway, who happened to be the coach for the Lakers. So she was taking me around the gym, you know, and showing me how everything worked in that, and mentioned about the wheelchair basketball, and it was great because at no point was anybody ever forceful, you know, like to try and say, "Oh, come on." It just said, "Oh, look, it's there for you, you know, if you want it." And I remember I was at the gym one night whenever they were actually training, so I watched them for 10 minutes from the viewing gallery, and just seeing everybody whizzing up and down the court, and seeing everybody had smiles on their faces. Every single player had smiles on their face. I thought, look, yeah, I think I want to be part of that, you know. And so I sent her a message and said, I'll come down for training next week. And yeah, turned up for training next week. And everybody was just like straight on court with the ball in their hand, bouncing it, shooting hoops. And Rebecca said, "Oh, we're going to try in this chair, this tiny chair." And I hopped into it, and I felt so small, and my knees were wrapped up around my ears, you know. It was
just for people listening, Alistair, what height are you?
6'4".
Yeah, okay.
So I was in this wee chair with 24-inch wheels, and yeah, God knows what to go. But yeah, and got going. I couldn't get over like sort of how zippy the wee chair was, how quickly it turned, and then you know, how to control it. Like that was a whole different ball game. And then to learn how to catch a ball and pass a ball. Like I was never great at catching and passing the ball before, and somehow my injuries didn't give me any superpowers, you know. But yeah. I cracked on, and it was great. And the whole thing about it wasn't, I think as most people will say about the sport, it wasn't actually about the game. It was about everything else. I mean, for me, being quite fresh out of hospital, new to wheelchair, new to life as a spinal cord injury patient, not one person asked me, "Oh, what's your disability?" or "What happened to you?" or "Why are you in a chair?" Not one person. And I loved that. Like, there's absolutely no "Why are you here?" I absolutely loved it. It was just a case of, "Oh, this is Alistair. It's first night here," and it was all good. And then one lad came over to me and said, "Oh, are you James McSorley's cousin?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, All right. And, off we went, and we were doing one-on-ones, and he was paired up with me, and he gave me hell all night, thinking I was going to be really good. He's like, mate, trust me, it doesn't run the family.
I think like there's less and less people running in our family.
I don't really want to follow that because I don't think I can, but I'm gonna. There's a couple of things on the Alistair, honest. Like, first of all, you're right. I remember meeting you early doors, and I think me and Phil were out for a meeting, and just by a chance pop by, and you were, I think you were playing box with the guys. And first of all, I remember thinking, top fella, like you were playing, interacting with the guys, and I just thought, like, easily approachable and just have a chat with, chatting with him. And that, you were 100% right. You did say to me, like, I didn't play team sport before this. I can't imagine I'm going after this, and that stuck with me so much because. And then we got spies everywhere. So Rebecca was on a mission, and no, I'm only joking. But she did mention, she's like, oh, we got a new player going on, all this stuff. I thought, yeah, I put me on the same person. But I didn't know your surname. I didn't know your surname until you came down to the Lakers. So I never ever came to the dots. And then I think me and Phil had kind of had a bit of a light bulb moment, and like, hang on a minute, like, there must be something in this, you know. So no, brilliant to hear from your angle, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. No, I remember you coming up in that chair. You come up to one of the NI training sessions, and honestly, mate, it was a sight to behold. Your kneecaps were up near your chin. It was unbelievable. That was the first thing we needed to sort out, was the chair. As we know, and hopefully that'll be something that will get sorted, you know, for next season. Obviously, we were talking about that off the podcast. But talking to top blokes, David, you've had to wait your turn. So how did you get involved? You've got quite a different story compared to, you know, the majority of the guys in the group. So give us a wee idea how you got involved with the Giants.
Yeah, so I don't really have that much of a sporting background. I only really got into sport in education, so NRC for 2 years, and then also going to university at Jordanstown to do a sports science course there. And being a sports course, they were introducing you to all the different opportunities and sports that you had. So we had 12 weeks of different sports: football, basketball, dance, and gymnastics. I think you can tell they didn't go well for me. And then the final 4 weeks, they had DSNI come in to show us different disability sports. We had bocce played. We had, I believe it was blind football or something like that. There was the bell on the ball, and then we had wheelchair basketball. I love basketball, so that was really, really good. And then I remember, I think it was January 2019. I'm quite new to this. I've only been here for like a year or so. I believe we were in a lecture, and Phil and Danny came in with sheets sitting talking about different opportunities and clubs that you could have for all the different sports. I saw wheelchair basketball there. I ticked it, and I was like, well, where I'm from, there's like 0 opportunities to get involved in anything. It just so happened this one, Causeway Giants Wheelchair Basketball Club, was in the town that I lived in. I was like, that just never happens, so that's a sign. Let's get involved. So signed up, met up with Danny at the Jordan Op, got all papers signed, and I had my first session. Say I was nervous was an understatement.
Yeah, definitely.
I was sitting there shaking. I was trying to hide it, but I think Danny could tell I was sweating buckets before going in there. But I had no idea what to expect. I wasn't sure if I was going to be walking into this competitive team going full steam ahead with shouting down the throat and sweating and tears and stuff, or if it was going to be just a fun shit about and chat and things. And then as soon as I learned more about the club and the league and all these other players and how far it's actually come, I was like, this is actually brilliant. Talked to Jordy. Jordy's great crack, a brilliant coach. He's really helped me develop communication-wise, teamwork-wise. He's helped me out a lot to learn a lot of things. Ross as well. You've got Ricky. All the players in the Causeway Giants are great. They just welcome me with open arms. And like Alistair and everyone else was saying, there was very little talk of disability. I think for me, being able-bodied, going into that environment, something I wasn't really used to, you were always worried that you were going to say something or someone was going to say something to you and you wouldn't know how to respond. There was absolutely none of that. You walked in, it was all about the sport, it was all about the teamwork, and it was all about just having fun, but also being competitive, training, getting ready for the league. It was a great environment, and then we moved down to Korean, things just kept getting better. And then when things got more competitive, apart from volunteering, I was able to play for them as an able-bodied player. So Jordy got me on the ropes, well, actually on the court, not on the ropes, getting used to moving about in the chair and marking all these players. And no, it's been great getting involved in that. He's good at getting you in the spirit to be really, really competitive, but he's also really, really good at getting down to earth and just chatting to you and being friendly. So he's a brilliant coach. I will say I remember days getting involved in the first competitive games. I had absolutely no idea what to expect as to what the level would be like. I thought I was doing pretty good with the whole wheelchair basketball. I was scoring non-stop in training. I was moving quick, flying down the court. I thought things were going to be great. I kid you not, see meeting some of the Lakers players, the Knights players, the Wolves, like seeing it all happen in person, I was like, what have I done here? This is not what I was expecting. These boys move full speed. They can shoot, they can pass, they can communicate. They've got it all. I think one of the most memorable moments actually was I was working on my shot quite a bit. So I was like, I'm going to get myself in a big tall chair here. I'm 6 foot, so this is going to work really, really well. I was like, no one's going to have any height on me. I remember, I think it was like our first or second game was against the Lakers. I was like, no worries. We're flying down the court, had the ball. And speaking of the 6'4" giant, Alistair literally just sitting there in front of me. I was like, whoa, this is mad. But no, I love the wheelchair basketball. I love the Causeway Giants. They're like a family. It's cool to see how over the last year, I started off as like, this is a brilliant volunteering opportunity. This is going to look really, really good in the CV and stuff like that. And in a sense, over the last year, I couldn't care less about that. It's the club's like family now. Like it went from going to sessions to like work on your volunteering skills and communication and stuff like that to always wanting to go to sessions. You're like wanting to go every day of the week if you could. To train and play competitively and stuff like that. So it's a great bunch. I'm glad I got involved in the sports at Ulster University and met the DSNI folks, Danny and Phil, and got me introduced into the sport. I've met all these people. It's been great. I don't know what else to say apart from that.
It's really insightful to hear. You know, obviously we met you at Ulster University, which has been brilliant for us and being able to go in and get hands-on with new students coming through. And then I remember Danny saying that you were going to move into the club environment, and it sounds like it's had a massive impact on you from a personal perspective as well. A lot of people don't actually realise that able-bodied people can play up the National League level and domestic league level in Northern Ireland. I'm sure that was a bit of it. It sounds like you were a bit apprehensive when you were kind of going there because you didn't know what to expect from other guys. But as Nathan said with his club, the sport's so inclusive, as what we all know. The sport's so inclusive in terms of just new people coming into the sport, or different types of disabilities, or people even without a disability coming in and just competing together, which is a pretty cool mix as well. So it seems to have had a massive impact upon you, David, and it's cool to hear everybody's different types of journeys. I think that's what we're trying to expose is James's journey into the sport is different than Nathan's, is different to David, and so on. But the other question I had was, what kind of impact, once you got in there, and I'm going to throw this to you, Alistair, first, what type of impact did this sport, so you got into your club, what impact has it had on you as a person?
It gave me access to a whole new community that I really needed. I have fantastic friends and family all surrounding me here, which made life after injury the transition much better. But you're just sort of day-to-day stuff, like just to be there, and I meet up with these guys once a week. But Wednesday night is our training night, and I looked forward to that every single week. I lusted for it. I was really keen to get to it, get back out there, get training, see the guys. We've got a great bunch of people. There's not a bad person in our team. And we all get on really well, and so as well together. But the bigger thing for me was it wasn't necessarily what it did for me, but what it did from a family, to see my mum, dad, my brothers, see me get involved in it and see what effect it was having on me. The reverse reaction on them was actually more important. They were loving seeing it happen. And, my family are involved. Both brothers have come along to training sessions, give it a go and have a crack. And mum and dad love being involved in the club any way that they can. Like dad, we've always been cycling and mountain biking background. So when it comes to wheels, tires, bearings and all that, pretty nifty mechanical wise. So dad brings the tools and the track pump along to every game day, and he's the team mechanic. absolutely loves it. Like, you know, he's flat out of things like everybody and making sure everybody's got the right pressure in the tires so that they can be as quick as they can up and down the court. And yeah, like it's class. And yeah, we just really enjoyed it. And Rebecca loves my dad being involved that much that they got him on top.
I haven't
See,
even
that's so
been top yet.
These are hard to come by.
Everyone wants them, but that's so important that, you know, if you look at a club and you go, okay, there's 2 coaches, 7 on the committee and 20 players, but that's not your club. Your club is the parents, your partners, wives, husbands, whatever, sons, daughters, cousins, brothers. Yeah, it's the wider effect. You can actually look at a club from that angle. Our clubs are 1,800 strong. You know, if each members got their support network around them as well. So that's amazing to see that ripple effect. That's one of the things that we spoke about in the office numerous times. I think the ripple effect and the wider impact of not just scoring a basket, it's the other stuff, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Nathan, what about you? What impact has it had on you? You've been kicking about the longest in regards to the whole group, bar McSorley, obviously James McSorley.
Got a lot this week.
What impact has it had on you, lad?
The club, it's been absolutely insane. That coming from, I went to Fleming Fulton, obviously, and it was a completely disabled school. And going in, as Alistair was saying, as soon as you go into the wheelchair basketball, up in the nights on under form, I seen Lefty, and this guy is massive. And I was like, how can he be so good? What's this here? And then there was Jason, and these guys were whizzing up and down the court. And then I was like, they jumped out of the wheelchairs and walked to the toilet, and I was like, that's not wheelchair basketball. I came to the wrong place. And I was like, there's people who can walk playing basketball. What is this? Now, I was completely mind-boggled. I thought wheelchair basketball was people with only disabilities. This is our sport. They've got their own sport. And now that I've progressed to a standard where I'm happy enough and I want to proceed in the sport, that it's all to do with inclusion. 100%. It's all to do with they get an experience for what it's like being in a wheelchair. And the coolest thing is they are like, oh, you're in a wheelchair, oh, this and this. As soon as they jump into the wheelchair, you're like, right, you're in a wheelchair now. Keep up with us. Like, we're not trying to keep up with you. Keep up with us.
Here's an interesting thing. David, links to your point earlier. So pre-Christmas there, went over to Germany, met the assistant coach on the German national side. And they were saying that he plays in East Navy, and he plays for Hanover. And his dad was a basketball coach, but one of the players was using a wheelchair, and he just sat at the side of 5 or 6 years old. And he just said, for Christmas, that's what I wanted the next Christmas. I was wanting a chair. And he played wheelchair basketball just because he could have played football, could have played a running game. He wanted to play wheelchair basketball, and that was full stop, end of conversation. And they were saying that in Germany in the 90s, it really shifted so that people were just playing the sport because they wanted to play the sport. It was no different to fishing or golf or tiddlywinks or whatever else. It was just the sport they wanted to play. So that's a pretty cool angle on it as well. And obviously that's links to David, what you were saying earlier in terms of your involvement there.
Yeah.
Is that something, James, that you felt as well? That is it the inclusion side of things? It's not something we have necessarily kind of pondered upon or talked about. Is that something that impacted upon you as well within the club environment you were at the Knights?
Yeah, like I think I've spoken numerous times in this podcast about the fact that one of the biggest impacts it has had on me as a person, like if you remove the athlete thing, just as a person, is like I got to grow up with a load of people with disabilities, without disabilities, and kind of like sort of we're all mixed in together, and like from there you end up with just a more diverse group of friends and a more diverse sort of outlook on life, and there's all these different people and you're coming together just to play a sport that they love, and there's very little else to do with it. Like it's kind of like, I like what Nathan said, it's kind of like an equalizer. If everyone's in a chair and playing basketball, that's all it can be about. Like it's it was especially growing up, because you feel a bit like an other, like you feel like a bit different or whatever. And to see not only a load of people with disabilities getting together and playing a sport and having crack, but to see that able-bodied people are getting involved as well, like even like that, I think helps even further to break down the barrier, because I don't know, if you went to the group and it was just very specifically a place that people with disabilities go to do a thing that people with disabilities do, which obviously it is primarily, but I feel like that might not have felt that might not have been as effective in breaking down the barriers that I had in my head when I was a kid. Like, some of my sort of best friends growing up playing were guys that were like people who were playing the sports, brothers who were able-bodied and stuff, who were more my age, and stuff like that was absolutely brilliant. Like, it kind of just gave me more different ways to broaden my horizons and meet more people and mix the different groups. And yeah, absolutely amazing. And like, as you see, there's so many mad stories about people getting involved. Like David said, he got involved as like a volunteer and then was like, hey, this is class, I'm going to stay. Like, Nathan talking about Lefty, Stephen McAleese, his brother has a disability, and he played. Stephen McAleese is actually able-bodied, and he played for years. He coached me when I was a kid and was really, really important in my sort of development as a young player, and I wouldn't have had these influences and these friends if it wasn't open to people without disabilities. So yeah,
no, 100%. It is something that's really, really important. It's something that struck me whenever I first got involved from a coaching perspective. Obviously, I came from a football background into the sport, and I'm still here now and love it. But whenever I came in, I was similar to you, Nathan. Couldn't really figure out where the whole AB thing was coming from, able-bodied players were coming from, and then you figure it out that it's the social concept and everybody's included within that sport, and it's just it's really, really it's just a cool concept, and it's something that I wasn't expecting. It kind of came left field at me, and then the more you're involved in that environment, the more comfortable you become with just that aspect of it. But Ross, you're sitting down there, Lonely Pint, on your own. Hey, what impact did it have on you, lad? I know that you were involved with the Northern Ireland squad and had a bit of sickness and stuff from a CP perspective, but you know, what impact did the club have on you once you were in through the doors?
I think it was, like, obviously because I played football, the CP football before. I think it was because I couldn't, like, but in PE and stuff in school, they played rugby, they done football. Like, I would have played football all the time with like APs and just tapping nets. That was pretty good because David about the place. I was half decent, but in terms of going out field, I just wouldn't even venture out there because I got slate tackled. I'm flying halfway up the field. I was like, no, I'm not happening. But so basically, since that, I've always been like kind of fit, but since that, it's really like progressed my like strength and like conditioning in terms of I can, at the start when I started playing, I couldn't really push a full 40 minutes without getting tired, but now I'm like, it's easy now because I've just been training all, like, when I first went in, I was training 1 day a week, and now before the lockdown I was training 4 days a week, including the Northern Ireland stuff and our training stuff, like our Wolves training. So it was like, I'm really starting to step my training up because I can see there's something in it. But whereas the start, I just sort of was playing for fun. And then when I went to that first NI training, I was like, okay, there's something here.
So it kind of you were able to get something back from that competitive side of you, because I know that you're a competitive lad, and obviously whenever we get you up on Monday nights and stuff and being included with the NI squads at a junior level, that you see that competitiveness right away. So it's been brilliant that you've been able to come in and switch that round and go, right, okay, I'm going to throw myself and immerse myself into the sport in order to progress myself a wee bit more, or to give myself different experiences. So
I think the scariest moment I've had so far is when we went over, when Phil told me we had a under 23, or it was just a NIE like 3-on-3 camp, and then Phil told me the Sunday we were leaving, oh Ross, but you've been invited to a GB camp. I was like, no. I was like, stop. And he was like, no. He's like, no, I'm being serious. And I was like, what I'm going to go over here and I am going to get absolutely blitzed left, right, and center. And yes, I got blitzed left, right, and center. But it was like, I think it was more like seeing the standard compared to back home. It was like, obviously we've seen it when we went over to like junior league and stuff, but the whole GB setup is a whole different level. And again, because there's just everyone's been playing for like years, and everyone was asking me how long have you played, and I was like 2 years, and they were like, why are you here? And I was like, I don't know.
What were the things that struck you first? Like, what were the big differences from what you'd be doing at club on a Monday night with Phil in comparison to the level when you went across the water to Sheffield? I assume it was. Yeah, it was. That was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was more. It was everyone there knew exactly what they were doing at all times, and no one was like, no one had to be told constantly, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. It's like there's a drill set, you're doing it, and then you're moving straight to the next one. It's like it's constantly moving. There's never, unless you're resting of your resting times, but there's never a big massive break between this and this to try and sort out what you're doing compared to back home and like club and stuff. Obviously, because of the experience, there's the lack of experience. There's an explanation they have to happen, and there's drills have to be laid out and like intro so you know what you're doing. But over there, it's like it's straight into it because everyone at that stage should know what they're doing. But yeah, it was crazy. Like
Yeah, that experience, I remember telling you that, and also the other person who's in the room that was there as well was Nathan. He went across to that camp as well, and it was an introduction into the academy kind of group. Nathan, what type of impact did that have on you?
Oh, like I thought I was going to go over here and be absolutely the bee's knees, be unreal. Look at me, go in there, and these guys are whizzing up, and it was literally me the first day I went into the night stream. It was like me getting into the doors to these absolute animals racing up down the court. What I thought was amazing was when how long were we training for a day? It was like 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah,
roughly, yeah.
And we every time, like when we were going for lunch, like the other fellas from like the what's his name? Can't mind by, but when we were going for lunch, there were still fellas training, and like we came back, and then they were going back into our training, so they were getting maybe like 40 minutes to grab something to eat instead. We were getting like an hour, so they were doing an extra bit with Hodge. And you come back in.
Pete Cusack, it was Pete Cusack, Finn Tonner, and Tyler Baines.
That is it, your man Ross. I think we come back in through these doors. I'm coming in, filling my water bottle, having a drink. As soon as I go in, these guys are still going. I was like, did they not hear that we're going for lunch here? What's happening?
Whilst we were having lunch, they had an hour shooting set with Hodge, and it was like, how are you still standing? Like, well, but yeah,
and they were like not hardly a bead of sweat. By the end, they were pretty tired. Like, but from the start to like the first end of the session, that was like me like tired enough. But like where I was, they were at that by the end of the day. It was absolutely insane to see the jump. But it was so beneficial to find out more about the 3v3 and how different players can interact with other people, like at that league and at that standard. And that's what was really inspirational, in my opinion, seeing like the inclusion. Like it's not like you have to be up to our standards to do our kind of thing. Like there was me and Ross weren't really the most up-to-date players compared to these guys, and they weren't like, right, jump in with us. They pushed us, but they also explained it to the point where we understood and we could join in and then keep up and build up. By the end of the day, you'd honestly think that these guys, you've known them for 20 years.
Yeah, like that was one thing. Like there was never a point where if because it was Simon Fisher was there the first day because Hodge couldn't come. So say if Simon and Phil or whatever who was there was up the other side of the court, and like if me and Nathan say, because we were not as experienced as them in terms of the training intensity, like if we didn't understand something, it wasn't like we were set to the side. Like there was a time I wanted to go off like and watch to the sideline to see what they were doing. Pete Cusack literally goes, "No, you're not." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Do it." And I was like, "Whoa, camera stuff." I was like, he threw me into it straight away, and I was like, "That's the best way though, because you're not gonna." There's difference between learning something at the sideline and actually doing it on court, and it was so much more beneficial because you didn't have time to think about it. You just had to do it.
Yeah. I think James, you've had that experience as well of going in. and being like, what is going on here? Like, you're the man in Northern Ireland, and then you get off the other side on a flight, jump into Sheffield or wherever it may be. It might have been Worcester at the time when you were going. And then it was like, whoa, this is a different world.
Yeah, Worcester was bad. Like, I would every second Wednesday when I was in uni, I'd like go to uni Monday, Tuesday, go to night training Tuesday night until 10 o'clock, come back home, get up and get on a flight 7 o'clock the next morning, go to Worcester for 2 days, come back, go to night's training on a Thursday. Like, and it's just, honestly, I don't think I caught up the whole time I was there. Like, I was just hanging on and being there, just hanging on and trying to stick with people who are far better than you and far more used to that level was really helpful. And then when I moved to Sheffield, I think I was there about a month before I knew what was going on. Like, there's a certain element of the guys who are there all the time and are used to the drills and used to the coaching and the setup and all these different things. Like, they're going to be more comfortable in it than you are. And there is also really, really an element of getting off a plane to go to a camp and sounding a bit different to everyone and not being around the same guys as much is a real, like, it's a real mental thing to try and get over. Like, you're not an outsider and everyone's really welcoming and whatever, but you do feel a bit different. But I think being in Sheffield and just being around those guys that work hard all the time, if you manage to hang on, it can do nothing but push you in the right direction. Like, it made me laugh, you talking about Pete Cusack when I was there recently. Well, I say recently, start of this year, rehabbing, and I finally got into being allowed to do a bit of chair contact sort of stuff. I needed to rope someone into doing a session with me, and I asked him to do it. So he did one of those sessions at one of those camps you were talking about, joined in with my stuff, did an individual with Had, then went straight back into those two. He took about 40 minutes off in a 6-hour gap, and like I tried. I was like, listen, man, like, please go away. Like, go and sit over there and have a coffee for an hour. Like, I was like, Had, do you want me to physically restrain him from coming in? And that, like we all, like, people had chats with him and we're like, listen, man, you need to look after yourself. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'll be grand. And he was grand. Like, he didn't overdo it. Like, obviously we're really lucky. We've got really good medical staff and physio staff and stuff and really smart, sensible coaches that won't let you overdo it. But he was just like, no, I want to go. I'm fine. He's just, and being around people like that, and there's a long list of guys like that over there that work that hard, but I just specifically remember 40 minutes off in 6 hours.
Yeah, it was great, crazy to watch. He's not just a machine, but he's just motivated. Same way, funny, he's an international player going in the right direction, let's put it that way. And then it's mad to be on the same chat here with an AD player and David Linden going, I just got the bug. I just got the bug. I loved it. I didn't want to put a ball down. I wanted to get the training. Then you've got Alistair talking about lusting to get the training. Like, everybody gets that buzz off it. Everybody gets that they're bit by the bug, and then all of a sudden it just takes over, and it's like, I need to get the training every week, and I need to improve, and not want to improve. And I suppose we kind of, me and Danny, and especially Danny, because he's, you know, immersed in the club stuff, and whenever he was coming back and we were talking about the inception of the Northern Ireland League, the domestic league, that was something that they popped straight into our conversation, was that the change in mindset within the clubs was, it organically grew. Everybody was asking about, when are we getting games? When's this all going to kick off? When's it going to happen? So I suppose my question is, Alistair, how big an impact has the domestic league within Northern Ireland had on the club environment and on you as a person?
On the club, it's been really significant. It's really helped to galvanise the club. You know, whenever we first started up, I mean, I was there maybe, I think, about 3 or 4 months after the club started up, and it was very much just about going week in, week out, just having the crack and seeing who turned up and enjoying it. And a lot of our training session was just playing a game, you know, to kind of get to know it, because there's so many new people in our club, and I was brand new to the sport. I didn't have a clue about the rules. I didn't know you weren't allowed to, you know, bash into people from behind or whatever. But I had a lot to learn.
I know that one also.
And whenever we had the league was coming, thought, all right, yeah. So we started to sort of think, right, okay, let's think about, like, you know, having a team, you know, having people actually play for competitiveness. And some people didn't want to play competitively; they just wanted to come every Wednesday night for the sort of social element of the training and the fitness element, which is absolutely fine. We started to get the committee together, and we became a standalone club then, away from the DSNI support, which Danny helped us progress to that, as far as I'm aware. And then we were looking at, right, let's get our kit sorted, let's get the team roster sorted, and the coaches, Rebecca and Sarah, had done an amazing job, just getting all that sorted. And then we were all looking forward to playing, and it went from there. And then whenever we went along to the first game day, we knew we were going to get our butts kicked, you know, because we're the kids on the block, youngest team, don't have experienced players who played state before, whereas everybody else had those elements in their team. But we went out, and we lost both games, but we loved both games. You know, we had the best crack, and being away, it's a banger for that day. We all felt like we were on a bit of a big day out, and we learned so much. Like you definitely learn more through loss than you do through winning. We just couldn't wait for the next month, even though we were all busted after it. But it's been brilliant to have that. It's given us an extra drive in training. We've been focusing a lot more on different aspects of the game in training. So Rebecca's really structured the training sessions, and instead of just turning up, and going out there with a ball and trying to shoot some hoops immediately, she's got us going through a proper warm-up routine and everything else now. And so it's been going really well. And for the club, it's raised the profile a wee bit of the club too, giving it a bit more publicity. And we have had a few new players, or certainly people have registered interest in the club off the back of it. And we've even recruited a new player during lockdown because they saw what was happening in the league and realised that that they were close to Craigavon, and they thought, I want to give that a go. So hopefully whenever we get back and going, we'll have another new player who is new to the game. So we're really looking forward to having them involved. And me personally, it's been great to have an avenue for my competitiveness. I've always go back and
boys, we all know Alistair.
We had a funny one for you. The last game day, pre-lockdown, the three analysts on the table looked at me, kind of all three of them looked at me and said, we've got a bit of a stat. And I thought this is going to be someone's missed a shot so many times, someone's scored a shot so many times. It was, Alistair's not fallen out of his chair today. And I was like, okay, that's not the kind of stat we're looking for. And then with that, about 3 minutes later, dunk.
First play, yeah.
Come on out straight away.
The most memorable thing I've got of Alistair, when it was the first game day we played the Lakers, and I was going for a layup, and I sort of bounced up to slow myself up to go for the shot. Bang, straight into the back of me, there's Alistair, and I just fly forward. And I'm like, I've never been hit that hard in my life. I look back, I look behind me, and I was Alistair just smiling at me, and I'm like, what person do you have to be to smile at someone after killing them?
Brilliant.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, I've still got a lot to learn.
Well, we all, mate. We all have. David, what about you for the Giants? What, is that been the same for you?
Yeah, I think I can agree with the guys when I say when it comes to inclusion and the diversity of the sport, it's really taught me a lot, because going up in high school PE or even college PE, you never really saw that inclusion. It was really hard to get that. So the likes of football, basketball, any other sport really, a lot of them didn't take part, or did take part, and it was very limited and unfair in a way. And I think a lot of our mindsets, and mine as well as an able-bodied player, was if I am going to get involved in wheelchair basketball, your job is to help out with the sport, but it isn't really your sport. And then as soon as I showed up, that was completely out the window. Danny made that clear and Coach made that clear. As soon as I got helped get the chairs set up and the wheels pumped up and the balls out, and I stood at the wall on the side watching everyone train, Jody just looked at me and was like, what are you doing? Get in a chair. Like, what are you playing at? And it was crazy to see the inclusion there and how well that was going. But it's taught me a lot personally as well. I'd say throughout the years, I've not been a communicator or a talker in any way. A year and a half later, you've got me on a podcast, so well done. And so it's like communication and training, developing coaching skills, teamwork skills, leadership skills. Like, it's crazy how much the sport has actually taught me and helped me develop over the last year. And a little bit of a bonus as well, not just like mentally and stuff like skills and all that, physically as well, because I had the smallest arms on the planet, and I think coming on now with all the pushing in the chairs and stuff like that. So I can't complain. It's definitely helped me on the physical end of things, as well as the mental and just developing myself as a person. Giants has been great for that.
Yeah. And what about the impact that the league, the league, how is it impacting on the club environment? Is it similar to Ulster, where you play the games and end up just, well, you guys are already a competitive group anyway, so I'll let you describe that.
Yeah, so whenever I first got involved, training sessions seemed normal. Like, it seemed like there was a structure, but you didn't know if it was based towards strategy against a different team or anything like that. And I remember my first few games, I think we won one game and then we lost the other, and then we lost the next two. And see those league matches, whenever they're finished, although they are like lesson learning and stuff like that, if you've lost, you fear going to session that week, like that Wednesday. You're like, Jordy, if he isn't going to make us do laps, he's going to push us to the bone. Like, he is going to just kill us in training. But he knows what he's doing. Like, there's times where he would talk about strategy in different teams, what we need to do to battle that. And for the whole month, we've been training our butts off, just trying to get certain drills into our head, certain call-outs and communications into our head. And it's been great to see what it's like taking a loss, applying that, and being able to get a win out of that. And I think the coach and the club have been doing a really, really good job of that, especially in the last few games there. Although we lost one, the win in the other, there was a lot of development going into that game. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we had to do to prepare for that.
Look at Ross smiling. Look at Ross smiling.
Yo, he's loving it. Yo, little speed demon there trying to catch him on the court that match. That was hard. But no, it's been great. It's been great to see how the league has affected training sessions and stuff like that. It's been really effective in a sense, really tiring as well. Like, my hands have only stopped ripping open every single time I finish training or a match. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, cheers for that. It sounds like it's had a massive impact on both clubs in terms of the Lakers and the Giants. I have a slightly different question for Ross and Nathan. I'll go to Nathan first. Obviously, you're involved with the Northern Ireland programme, boys, as well. Give us a wee bit of an insight in regards to the British kind of junior leagues. And James would have been involved in this right throughout the years in Celtic Cups, UK School Games, British Junior League, Elite Eights, National Junior Championships. What type of an impact has that had on you from a personal perspective, Nathan?
Well, the easiest way for me to put it would probably be when you're over in like England, when you're playing against these players are in between, like just below GB, but like they're near senior. It's insane to see the skill level, and as you're playing a game against them, it's not like, oh, you're going over for a match, we're going to go over, we're going to win, we're going to be class. You're going over, and it's not just about the playing, it's not just about the winning, it's not just about the losing, it's about the team. It's all a team aspect. So as you're playing with your teammates, you get to know them better, you get to know other players, they can coach you, and it's all a learning aspect.
Yeah, 100%. And then we've obviously got the other side of things. You've got a big pond in between us and the mainland. And there's a big personal development piece, isn't there, in there as well, in terms of the travelling that goes on. And give us a wee insight into that, because you've been about in the Northern Ireland programme for a long time and been travelling.
Yeah, it's mad. Like, so I always struggled with going away to these games myself. So my mother was with me till I was probably like 14, and I was like, I need to like man up here, and I need to do something for myself. So then I started going over to these games on my own with you guys, and it wasn't like, oh, look at him, he's going over on his own, fair play to him. It's like, right, you're part of a team. We're going to take you under our wing, and we're going to show you what you need to do to progress. and when you're playing against other players, like they're also pushing you on court at the same time. It's just the competitive aspect of it that's my biggest thing from it.
Yeah. And what about you, Ross? What impacts it had on you, the travel, the Northern Ireland programme, going across the mad competitions? I think the first competition I can remember you going along to was the UK
School games.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope. It wasn't
Is
even.
it not?
It
Was it
was
not? Wasn't it?
it was National Junior Championships a month before.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. I thought school games as well.
Nah,
I'm
nah.
watching it like on
See,
TV.
that's the difference between like cousin Nathan's going up like with like going over for juniors on national junior championships and stuff. It's like when because I was playing, I must have only been playing like 3 months, 4 months, and I was told by Phil, I was like, he'd be like, yo, you've been invited to go over to national junior championships, and I was like, no, I'm not, and he was like, yes, no, but yes, you are. And it's like, well, why am I even going to this? Like, if I'm been playing 4 months, he's like, Phil literally said, like, Ross, you're gonna learn so much when you go over here. Like, it doesn't matter where you are now. Like, it doesn't. And I was like, fair enough. And I remember going over, and it was I can't remember who it was. I think it was Ben Leach. Ben Leach, literally, I went to take a shot. I was because my arms are pretty long. I have a shot. Ben Leach just tilted. Bang, slapped into my hand, the ball went halfway up the court. And I just looked at Ben. Ben looked at me. He smiled and pushed off, and I was like, "Come on, please." But no, I think it's really brought me on, especially school games. Like I would go back. I can't even watch it anymore, like because there was so much stuff. I was just so bad. Like I couldn't believe it. And there's so much stuff like I learned from school games in terms of just the level that I needed to be at and how to get there. Like with help of Phil, obviously, I've just came on so well, and I just want to say thanks for that, because like it's mental how far I've came so far, and obviously I'm nowhere near where I need to be. Like going off that GB camp, there's so much work I need to put in to get anywhere near the GB program. It's like, but I know if I put the work in, I can get there. Like with the help of Phil and Paul and just my own effort, I will get there. Like, but I think it's just really emphasized the fact that I need to put the work in, because if I just train 1 day a week or 2 days a week with Phil, like I'm not going to do that. I need to put extra training in, which is, that's the main thing I've got from it. Like, because you don't get anywhere just from club or national training. You just don't. Like, you need to put more effort in.
You gotta put the extra hours in on training, and James, you'll know all about that, about having to put it on in with your team and then individually as well. By the way, Ross, send me your PayPal details and I'll fire you over some money for the compliments. But James, is that something we have talked about in previous podcasts about the impact that those training environments had on you as a youngster, and then it spurred you on to go on and do bigger and better things?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned last week, that being around the likes of Paul McKillop, Matt Rolson, Jason Kennedy was like half the reason I had that work ethic. I said the other half was just my dad. But like there's this thing of like being around those guys and watching them go in and absolutely put it in on a Tuesday and Thursday night, and then realizing that doesn't come from like out of thin air. Like those guys look better every Tuesday. The guys that you're training with look great every time you go over to a camp, because they're doing their Monday, Wednesday, Friday as well as their Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like you go and you put the extra hours in to really, really work on the fine skills. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can work on in a club session for 10 or 15 people, but as a coach, you can't. It's quite hard to work on like massive like big group things for a game on Saturday, and also really, really look at refining skill level. So I think that's on players, especially when they're younger, to find a bit of time, whether it's in your back garden or whatever. That's where I spent a lot of the time when I was younger, and then as I got a bit further into it, I was lucky to get a bit of court access and a bit of support that way. So I was able to get on court in the mornings and just sit and figure things out on my own, do a couple of drills and get a bit of repetition with my shots, and being able to sort of analyze, okay, well, hold on, if I tuck my elbow in here, if I'm going to figure it out slightly, or okay, no, if I dribble the ball here, I get a better push up. Like, just, you need more time to be able to figure things out and really sort of wrap your head around them and then get the reps in. And you can't really no amateur club has the facilities or the time to do that, like the availability. Like it's only now have I, like now that I'm abroad, am I with a club that can put you on court twice a day. Like even the clubs at the highest level in England, I was very lucky that I was playing in Sheffield, a great club with access to a court kind of fairly freely, but it's only because I knew somebody had the key. And the rest of the time it was all GB stuff, and that's really, that's where you get better, just by putting the hours in sort of fairly consistently over a long period of time, and sort of directing your energy in the right places when you get there. Because you could, at the same time, someone can give you an hour of court time every day for the rest of your life, and if you just muck around, you're not going to get any better. Like you need to be out doing the right stuff all the time.
Yeah,
that's where it comes. Like no one gets there for 3 hours a week, really. Like
100%. No, the right message is if you want to have a bright future in anything you do, regardless of whether it's on the court or educationally, you got to put the time in, you got to put the effort in, and put the work in. So if you're listening, listen to wise words from everybody in the group. I suppose that kind of moves us on nicely. I've got a question about what excites you about the future of the sport within Northern Ireland, and I suppose, Alistair, I'll fire that one to you. What excites you about the sport in Northern Ireland? Where do you think it's going?
It's going from strength to strength. I mean, it's just had the first season. Didn't get to finish it off in style, but already won by the night, and I think everybody's thoroughly enjoyed the whole season, the journey, and every club has progressed. Every single round. You see every comeback, and they're coming on. And that's what's really nice to see. I love seeing people get better at stuff. Whenever you see players from other teams come back, and they defend you in a way that they weren't able to do before. It's infuriating at the time. You just got beat by them or whatever. But you think, it's awesome to see them like doing that well now, and that gives you a wee bit more fire in your belly. Right, I'm going to get better, so that they can't do that to me next round.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much it's going from strength to strength. We're even seeing more people coming to watch, like spectators. Whether it's just friends and family of people, or whether it's people genuinely interested in it. But we are seeing a lot more people coming, and then like there's music and there's a PA announcement going on. Like it's a real buzz about it. You love that atmosphere, and we hosted the last round there before lockdown, and it was just epic. We loved it. It was brilliant, and I think everybody had a great time. And we just can't wait for the next one, and to know that there's going to be more teams involved. Can't wait for the Bangor Bulls to get involved in the league. And we love to beat them, but somehow I don't think they're going to come that easy. I'd say they got plenty of fire in their belly. And we love seeing new teams coming on, and I think it's a really healthy place. Wheelchair basketball in Northern Ireland, and the most recent podcasts, listening of where the sports come from. I've always had a bit of an awareness about it, from James and Emer, but to actually hear, from the likes of Aubrey, Paul, and Ivor, and so on, like that's class. And then to see where we are now, and to be part of that now is really special. Like for me to be able to say I was part of that first Northern Ireland domestic league, and to know that it's going to grow and grow and grow, and to see more people come in, and you just hope that people get the same enjoyment out of it that like what I'm getting and what David's getting and Ross and Nathan. You just want to see that spread, and you want to see it spread to the families as well of that player. And I just think it's a really healthy place. And to be honest, I can't advocate anybody getting involved in any form of physical activity is a good thing.
Yeah.
Doing something is better than nothing. And what you guys are doing to help develop the sport, it's very exciting, because at the minute there seems to be a program of like a new club every year. And like if you think about like a general sports fan, whether you're into NBA, whether you're into rugby or football, to have a new team coming in every year, a new bunch of players, to get to know what way does that team operate, how do they get on, and how will they have different strengths and weaknesses. that's class. I mean, if you stand back and look at Frank Brady, that is class. And I think the future for the league and the Northern Ireland scene is really promising. And I can't wait to see in a couple of years' time, like what other players go on to, break through. Like James has done it, and Con has done it. Most recently. I can't wait to see what other players are going to go and do that. It's brilliant.
Yeah, no, 100%. You could have ended the podcast, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you could. Volunteers.
I was just going to ask David the same question. Dave, what's your feeling on the direction and the future of wheelchair basketball in Northern Ireland from somebody who's came in at a different direction from maybe some of the other guys that have got involved?
Yeah, I 100% agree with Alistair. Although I haven't been in like the back history of wheelchair basketball, I'm very, very new to it. Even in the year and a half that I've been a part of it, there has been crazy developments. So in game, like if you compare my very first match to the leisure centre we were in, it was really, really quiet. You just heard balls bouncing. You heard everyone in the hall. And then you had our very, very last game there in Craigavon. You had the table, you had the officials, you had the referees, you had the music, you had the crowd as well. Like in Korean and Craigavon, you had fans watching, you had cheering. Like it was crazy to see how it came. Then there was the talk of developing new clubs, the competitiveness. You see players going from good to really good, and then really, really good to just the best. Like it's insane. Like it's all happening so quick, and it's crazy to think that in the next year or two, it could double, it could triple. Like it could be something that's seen like by big numbers. And it's crazy to think, even looking at Facebook and looking at the statistics of the different game highlights and the posts from wheelchair basketball of DSNI, the amount of recognition and the amount of development that the sport has had since even back in September up till now, even during the lockdown. So I 100% agree that I think the future of the sport and the future of the league is going to be bright in Northern Ireland, like 100%.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. I think Alistair as well, hit the nail on the head. But I'm interested in James as well. His thoughts on, if you were to give us some advice, as being like a wheelchair basketball commissioner, let's put it that way, and you're going to give us some advice in terms of the future of like the league and how it looks. Where would you sort of say we need to start looking at or delving into a bit more? Is it style of play? Is it refereeing? Is it
no indoor fireworks or like
smoke machines?
That's going back into that's beyond Aubrey's time. That's back to the 80s.
No, smoke machines and popcorn would be no. I think it's been really exciting listening to you two guys talk, or you four guys, talk about your experiences in the various different amounts of time you all played and all the different ways you've got into the sport. Like it's really cool to like hear that people are having similar experiences to what I had when I started and are getting to get as much like enjoyment and fulfillment out of it, and that's really, really nice to hear. In terms of keeping the game going forwards, that's more Danny and Phil's job than mine. They're like you guys are already doing a class job. I would just say you need people involved. You need as many people involved as possible. The bigger pool you have, the more likely you're going to be able to find talent. You're more likely you're going to be able to find people who want to referee and help out and table official and figure out how to like run the table and get involved in committees. And then next thing you know, you've got more like a bigger pool of people to be like, okay, well, I'll bring the chairs down here, or I'll get the table official sorted, or I'll get the lunch sorted at this game day. I don't know how it all works, but you know what I mean? Like the more people you have involved, the bigger it's going to get naturally. And I think at the heart of it, you just need to give people as many opportunities to play basketball as possible, because I think from what we've spoken about here, there's no real secret that once people see it, they want to get involved and they want to stay involved like the majority of the time. And I think that's basically it. As many different ways as you can expose people to the game, and as many different doors, as many different doors as you can have into the sport for people to get in and stay in. Like I think once people are in the door, I think we've seen that there's really good people up, and there's really good people running every club. And
that's what I was about to say about the good people. Yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah, like that'll get people involved, and that'll keep people involved once you get people in. Like you trust the clubs to be full of good people. Like you can't be going down every time someone shows up tonight to be like, okay, this is your coach. And like you can't, especially as the club grows. So I just think it's up to the good people involved in each club once people are there. But I think it's your guys' job and the job of anyone who wants the sport to grow to try and get as many people in the door as possible. And I wholeheartedly believe it kind of takes care of itself from there in terms of people staying involved.
And do you know what? You say about good people. I saw a gent today, a proof of how many good people are in the sport. And you look at the episodes the previous 9, so many good people. I think we felt very lucky actually to work with some good people who come on and listen to our rubbish every week, but also to enjoy as well. So yeah, that's definitely. I'm so glad you said good people, because that was just the phrase I had in my head.
So glad I got there after 6 minutes of rambling.
Editing, edit.
No, listen, guys, it's been really, really interesting to hear everybody's different journeys into the sport, how the competitive scene within the sport is continuing to grow, where the future of the sport's going. Obviously, we've got a lot of young players, a couple of young players on here, people coming in from different angles of the sport, and then people coming in and just throwing themselves at the sport and making sure that they're going to be there for a very, very long time. And it's all down to good people, as James and Danny said. So thanks very much for sharing your stories and your journeys, and hopefully we'll all continue to get better and grow as a sport. So Danny, we'll have a lightning round next. So if you want to take it away, big man.
Oh, no.
Best bit. Yeah, everyone's size. Best bit. Trust me. 3 minutes time, we'll all know. Right. See you later. You're on it, mate. Okay, slightly different format this week because there's obviously more of us. So fewer questions, but I'm actually going to ask you 2 of you the same question just to get you kind of thing on.
That's just easy, Danny. Come up with more questions.
I know. Should be planning. And then the last question I'm actually going to ask to each of you, and it's slightly different this week. So, Nathan, going to come to you first. Your best moment in sport, please.
Definitely by far was when the Northern Irish League started up. My mother only started playing basketball, and we were going down court. Now, my mother, I don't know how this happened, but she got a fast break. Thought she was class. So I stay back and try and slow. I think it was Ross was coming back up. So I stay back and try and slow down Ross, but I have the ball. So I am able to cut in, take Ross away from my mother, and then pass to her. And that's when she scored her first basket. That was my highlight.
Oh, brilliant. Great.
Definitely my favourite part.
What a shout. Ross, same question for you. Best moment in sport?
Putting 20 points in the Giants last game day.
I'll do you there.
Good answer. Okay, Alistair, to you. Funniest team member in your squad?
Funniest team member squad. A lad, he doesn't play in the game days, but comes every Wednesday night. Brian McKeery, flipping hilarious. Yeah, and then I'd say the other one he does play is Colin Shields. He's always for a gag.
Good man. David, same question to you. Funniest team member?
I would say, if not Jordy, the coach, then David. What was his last name?
Lyndon Radcliffe.
Yes, David Radcliffe. Oh, he's a clown, but he's brilliant. He always gives you a good laugh every single session. You can 100% guarantee he's going to put a smile on everyone's face.
Cool. Nathan, back to you. Aim for the future for yourself in basketball?
Lose weight and reach GB.
Was okay. Right, good show. Ross, same for you?
Yeah, probably try and reach an under-23 tournament in 3GB.
Good show. Okay. Alistair, back to you, mate. One live sports event that you want to see or have seen?
I think probably a Rugby World Cup final would be something I'd love to see.
Yeah, England are good at getting to them, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the last Cup final there, Danny?
No, I didn't. I'm first same fan. David, same question to you.
Just a Premier League match, like a really, really high atmosphere, high crowd match, or else big one would be a Champions League final. I think that would be sick.
Yeah.
Yes. Just follow Liverpool, mate. You'll be all right.
Who does support? Oh, you're going to kill me for this, Chelsea.
Oh, get out of here, right? We're done.
Okay. Question to all of you then. Okay, and slightly different accent. Nathan, we'll start with you. In one word, can you describe to me what your team badge means to you?
Inclusion.
Nice. Ross, same question.
Family.
Nice. Alistair?
I was gonna say family as well. Yeah, like a nice family.
Nice. And David, you got the hardest one. Paul?
I'll be the third strike because I was going to say family.
No, that's perfect. Like I said, that's really, really key. And I think one of the things we wanted to kind of get a feel for today, like I said, we've gone through the 90s, the early thousands, and kind of the now, and see where the sport's not just where it is now, but you guys moving forward as well, and seeing what your clubs mean to you and to you yourself, but also the sport as well as individuals as class. So Phil, best bit done again.
Cheers, Danny.
That's pretty cool.
Referring it back to me, best part of the podcast by a long mile. But guys, thanks very much again for coming on. Danny, James, as usual. It's always a pleasure to have you guys as part of it.